Boogeyman Bin.
Hello Fright fans, thank you for joining me again for Boogeyman Ben's Horror Zone. Today's video is going to be something real quick, but I couldn't go without saying that today, 30 years ago, Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning was released in theaters. And this was a very special Friday the 13th film for me, because when this came out I was 10 years old. I was going to be 11 in about less than a couple weeks. But this was the very first Friday the 13th film I saw in theaters. And in my hometown where I grew up, they had just opened a brand new, there was 9 screens, so it was a Century 9 that had opened in my hometown. I remember that day there was they had these big searchlights that were just, they had them out in front of the building, and it was a huge deal for my town, where we just had one little theater, and this was the first big, I guess what you call multiplex, where they had, several screens and they could show many more movies. And my mom took me to see this the day that theater opened. And unfortunately that theater is long gone. They've tore it down almost probably about 14 years ago. But seeing this film on the screen, seeing a Jason film on the screen for the first time at 10 years old was pretty amazing. And I don't know if a lot of parents would take their kids to see a movie like that now, but my mom was pretty cool and taking me to see this. And I just remember after this I was hooked. I was a Jason fan. I had seen Final Chapter a couple of months before this movie. My dad let me rent it, and then I got to go see this one in the movie theater. And, even though, of course, as everybody knows, it's not Jason in this film, it's Roy, but still, it was just fantastic to see a Friday the 13th on the big screen. And from then on, I saw every Friday the 13th film on the big screen, from Part 5 all the way through to the reboot. And I actually saw this movie twice on the big screen. We went to a double feature of this, and I forget what the other film was, but we went to a double feature, and this was the last film. There was a lead-in film, which they don't do a lot anymore. When I was a kid, they had they had one movie, and then this was the final movie, and we went with my mom's friend Louise and my buddy and her son Tori, who was my best friend growing up. And it was a blast seeing this again on the big screen, and that was for my 11th birthday. Like I said, which was a few weeks later. But yeah, I was a Jason fan from then on. Just loved this series. It's sad that Danny Steinman has passed on, who directed this film. But I still love this film. I know a lot of people don't like it, and they think it's a lesser film in the series or one of the weakest in the series. But I've always enjoyed it, even though, it isn't, Jason doing the main, Jason doing his thing. It's an imposter, but it's still a fun film. I think it retains the heart of the original, of the first 4 films in the series. It's a really good sequel to Part 4. I just enjoy this film so much, and it's amazing to me that it came out 30 years ago today. So great memories. And one other thing I wanted to share, and I'm actually going to show some pictures. I was such a fan of Jason after this film that I wanted to be Jason for Halloween. And in Halloween that year, in 1985, and then the following year when Jason Lives came out, I was Jason for Halloween, and it was very hard to find a hockey mask. And I remember I asked my dad to help me find one, and I remember him and my stepmom had to find one in New York or something like that, and they ordered it for me. And even though it doesn't look like, of course, the Jason masks that we have today, which are completely screen accurate, much more details. And I have this one still here in the Horror Zone, but this is the very first Jason mask I've ever owned. I still consider it a Jason mask, even though it doesn't really look like, the mask that he wore in the films. But for me, this was the whole world, and this was the closest I could get to actually being the character in terms of being him for Halloween, and I completely was Jason. I need to show, like I said, I'll showcase some pictures at the end of this video. Yeah, this thing is exactly almost 30 years old as well, and they call it a street hockey mask, and yeah, I'll share some pictures of me wearing this at 11 and 12 years old, and I still have it here in the horror zone, and it's one of the things that I really appreciate still having, because it means so much to me now, especially getting older and reminiscing on these times from when I was a kid that were a lot of fun, and just some great memories. So again, something real quick, just celebrating Friday the 13th Part 5, 30th anniversary of this film, and everyone needs to check this film out if they haven't already done so. And again, thanks so much for the support, Boogeyman Ben's Horror Zone, and I do have some more reviews and some cool videos coming up this week. I got a few things that I'm going to be getting, and I'm really excited to talk about some movies that I've watched and give some reviews on those. So thanks so much, everyone, for taking the time to watch this video, and please share your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what the first Friday the 13th film you saw in the theater was. I'd be really interested to hear that. So again, thanks so much for everyone taking the time to watch this. Have a great rest of your weekend. Peace.